Well, 1 minute. I think this is something that we're forgetting to mention. Why is this so very important? Because ultimately, there's more to it than just a currency. Because we talked a little bit earlier about tokenization of natural resources. We talked about governance, and I would like for you to expand on all that.
Yeah.
But let's start with, we talked a little bit about a company called Ecofolio. So I want to start with that. We're going to go through the 4 things that Michael and I wanted to bring up today. And one of them is naturalization of natural resources.
So, to end off, I had that whole chart thinking, this is how I'm going to judge these currencies. Not knowing that the market sometimes has its own problems that it's looking to solve. So, for example, we're in a climate crisis. Why are we in a climate crisis? It could be that we don't have we as a planet don't have a way to value natural resources.
That's right.
So what if a company used blockchain to monetize a forest? So imagine this is forest somewhere in the middle of nowhere, Timbuktu. Nobody cares about it. But the people at Timbuktu, they want to generate economic activity. They want to invite people to invest. Might they chop up the forest into little parcels of land and sell it on the open market?
Well, I think the internet problem would be who owns the title of that forest.
And that's where regulation, political, legal, and regulatory environment. Remember, the political, legal, and regulatory environment is the fulcrum upon which startups live and die.
That's right.
And so many of the savvy people in the blockchain space have started working with the regulators to understand what might be kosher for them.
Right on.
And so, hey, if we want to do this, we know we have a common problem, which is climate change and valuing our natural resources, preventing people from just buying them and chopping it down. How might we address this? Government and entrepreneur. Well, if you work with them for enough time and they trust you and you have the right people, right, then you can do something like Ecofolio, which is starting with a very small piece of land and chopping up into little packages and selling those packages off.
So that's the part of it that has to do with natural resources. So again, this is a very interesting direction that we could not may have not seen 5 years ago.
I think somebody said there's $146 trillion of natural resources.
to be tokenized.
What? That's just a new asset class in the trillions. It's like an asteroid just landed over here. Now we can start mining it, right? But what if mining it, tokenizing it, making it buyable was the way we saved it? Because might people in Australia spend money to protect the forest they own? Right? When it's burning to the ground.
Because it has value to them.
Because it's that value to them. And what if you could put that value into the people's ownership? But you can imagine, that's the most disruptive idea on the planet. What? You're going to tokenize Dairy Road? Good luck. Good luck. Good luck for all of the reasons in the world, right? Good luck. And so there are companies that are coming out now. So imagine 20 years ago, Uber is the ultimate political, legal, regulatory disruptor. We're not going to talk to anyone. We're going to operate. Good luck. Today, it's not necessarily the case. People are still trying it, but other people are actually getting a little further ahead by finding a middle ground between being essentially an anarchist and a centralist.
Using leverage again.
And just understanding that there might be a path to victory instead of just a victory moment.
Right on.
Right? And so, and nobody knows. It could be what was Tesla's path to victory? You could do a whole documentary on the political, legal, and regulatory story of Tesla.
Oh, I bet.
Right? And you could do a whole story on how their competitors who failed misstepped or maybe couldn't afford their legal bills.
Oh, that should be almost like a whole course in university on just how these companies emerged, Amazon, Tesla, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah,
because they're shaping the economy. day by day.
And that's really what headhunting has really turned into for me. 15 years ago, it was helping you find a job.
That's right.
Today, I have a founder with a disruptive patent, idea, whatever, and I'm looking to get to market. I'm looking to help. Well, okay, well, you need to pitch this person. You need to pitch that person. You need to spend 1 year getting your act together, and then you can pitch this one person. So that's what headhunting has turned into me. Unicornlaunching.com.
Right on.
It's helping unicorns get to market. How? Through the right people. Knowing that everyone has access to virtually the internet. So that's solved. You're not going to find necessarily a competitive advantage doing research on the internet. Right?
Oh, it's all there.
It's all there, right? And anyone with an electricity and a phone can look up a PDF, can look up a biology textbook. And so how do you get the competitive advantage? It's by talking to the people who are actually the decision makers.
That's right.
But how do you meet a John Danaher? How do you meet a Faraz Zahabi? How do you meet that GSP? Well, it starts with those metals, right? So it starts with a startup doing that, right? You're like a startup.
Getting a little bit ahead.
Yeah, you're kind of like a startup jiu-jitsu guy, right?
Just doing little scores on a tree.
Yeah, and they talk about fail often in the beginning, right? How many times you get tapped the first time? Oh,
you
it's
lose,
stupid,
you lose
right?
thousands of times.
Right? In fact, I remember jiu-jitsu the first time, my defense was this. Right? Just trying to keep this person who was heavier and longer and stronger than me from moving. Like, actually keeping him on top of me was like my last line of defense.
It's hard.
It's very
it's a
difficult.
lot harder than you think.
But it's from there led to that. And now you're actually, look, it's no stretch of the imagination that when you do well at the next Pan Ams, somebody's going to ask you to train with them. And you're going to have to turn them down. Or you're going to have to make a very tough decision. Right?
Are they trying to scout me?
Oh, can you imagine if I was a headhunter scouting you
headhunted?
for Faraz Zahabi and John Danaher? Hey, Faraz and John Danaher, I am available for a retainer. You need this guy in your team.
And a handshake.
Yeah. A golden handshake, they call it in my world.
So listen, this is
So
all
that's Ecofolio. How might we save the planet? Well, maybe if we monetize the forest, people would be less likely to cut them down because someone's willing to do more than hug the tree in defense. Someone might get the lawyer.
Right on.
Right? And imagine if you could have lawyers with an economic incentive to protect a rainforest. That's what we're building with blockchain now. Who would have ever thought that you could do that?
It's not just currency anymore. So the last
It's not
few
just
years,
currency.
They're
digitized. They're calling this Nature 3.0. That's what they're calling it. Nature 3.0. Applying nature and distributed computing on top of each other with a currency. So we know the forest is there. We know that you can own this part, and this part is worth this much. And now it's infinitely transactable.
Well, it all comes down to just simple concepts of title ownership, right? Ultimately.
That's exactly.
But it evolved so much now that it's now no longer just change your title. Now it's just.
Well, let me ask you, who has title to a forest in Canada?
Well, I'm going to guess the Crown.
Right. Might the Crown decide, hey, there might be a portion of a small island in the middle of nowhere that we're willing to have people buy?
Oh, absolutely.
They might.
Sure.
They might. Maybe they might tokenize Greenland.
Well, actually, I think they do incentivize people purchasing land and essentially adopting land, wetlands, right? Like places you can't build, right? So things are being essentially sponsored by people willing to participate in philanthropy of a sort.
So zooming way out, we now have currency 3.0 and we have nature 3.0. What are the business models in between that people are going to build? We're just in the beginning of that.
That's right.
Like, have you heard of